What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more garbage, and we're returning to Beautiful Garbage 2001, though once again this is the 2021 remaster. And the next track is Parade, which is, at least formally, a procession meant to celebrate, commemorate, or otherwise embody an event, a process, a social movement, so it could be more jubilant, more solemn, or even more rowdy or dissident, depending on what type of parade it is. So yeah, even the word itself has a lot of ambiguity or variety, and obviously with no additional context in the title, I don't quite know what to make of it, and perhaps it'll be figurative in the essence of its usage. Let's see what it is or what I can pick up. This is Garbage, the track is Parade, and it's from the 2001 album Beautiful Garbage.
Get right to it, get right to it.
especially at the end here with that, it's almost like not even call and response. It's like one vocal line more melodic and true in terms of the sound quality running one way, and then a secondary vocal with like that megaphone or like filtered type of sound going the other way. So yeah, I don't quite know what to make of the lyrics at first, and anytime I hear a phrase like brainwash the masses, it's like, okay, so maybe this is about the way parades can be used to put people's attention on bright, shiny sort of social events, broadcast on TV, like celebrating national culture or something to that effect, and thus making them not think about problems or, turning away from ironies or inconsistencies in terms of reality versus national slogans and platitudes. But then it was like, living for tomorrow, which could itself be another line about how, like, if you're living for tomorrow, then you're not living for today. You're like, oh, well, we'll do the important things, or we'll think about the tough questions tomorrow. For now, let's just have fun and look at these bright balloons and, people marching with, bright flags or dancing and so on. So I feel like maybe that's somewhat of the essence, but there were a couple other moments where it sounded like maybe, what was it, like if you can't find something to believe in. And so I was thinking, like, maybe we can take the idea of a parade in that regard more positively, because maybe you're marching to support something of value or to make a change, and you're living for tomorrow in the sense that you have to get people involved and build up a social movement, and part of how you do that is public events and mass protests and so on. And it's only then that tomorrow can maybe change. And obviously that's like a almost diametrically opposed viewpoint of the line. So I don't quite know how it all stitches together, and maybe there is, multiple sides to it. But if I had to guess, I'd say maybe it's more critical of the idea of a parade as being something, again, shiny and flashy that feels good to celebrate and listen to music and have some fun, but which, in a more long-term sense, is distracting from or taking away the momentum from, like, making a more immediate change and adjusting things, because of protest or something that's less, like, celebratory. Either way, I really enjoyed the Sonics. They have a bit of that alternative rock meets electronic sound, but of course we do get some moments where the arrangement is a bit lighter and Shirley's voice has more of a melodic, like, movement to it, which sounds like some of the slower or heavier songs I've heard. Not necessarily, there's no, like, heavy emotional feeling in terms of the Sonics here, but again, it's not quite like the most heavy and, industrial alternative type of sounds like I've heard in some of the tunes going back in earlier years at this point. But nevertheless, it did make me think it's more in the kind of sound that I had in my mind about Garbage going into this deep dive, whereas there's been other songs that, have been heavier and slower and, like, painful ballads and so on, which were not what I would have thought of in advance of the deep dive, which of course is just due to my limited exposure to Garbage beyond, one or two tracks prior to this deep dive. But nevertheless, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, again, the layered vocals. There's some points where I think we're getting multiple Shirley vocal lines interwoven with each other. Nevertheless, definitely one with some dynamic qualities to it. It was a shifting, evolving type of tune, but the chorus in particular, I really love that the flourish, the swelling of the Sonics that got into a more intense type of sound. But it felt like happy, which again, maybe that's a commentary on the idea of a parade, and even if it is more critical, it could be representing the jubilance of a parade in some of the Sonic configuration. But either way, I enjoyed it sonically and vocally, and curious about the way it all plays out lyrically. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.